Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome to one of the darkest days in recent history. I was so frickin' glum, but if everyone knows what's going on in America, there's better words, but it's Handmaid's Tale. I don't know.
Yeah, we're not doing too well today. We're doing well enough, but
it's frickin' dystopian, okay?
The outcome of the presidential race here in the States, and we couldn't even watch the coverage last night, and not too happy. I don't know. We were supposed to record this yesterday, but then we couldn't. But we want to be a little lighthearted here, but we are pretty upset.
But that's why we are talking about international things today, British things, if you will, because something a little more lighthearted and not America.
We could kind of be a little more clear-headed about British things because it makes us forget about the issues here, at least for a video.
Yeah.
So how is it going, everyone? From the title, yes, we're going to talk about Arsenal, and we're going to talk mostly about Arsenal, a little something about Chelsea. And actually, I did want to record this video a few days ago. By the time this video goes out, it will be Thursday when this video goes out. But, so this is a couple days old. But I more wanted to ask the big questions when I talk about this video. Because the big questions involve Arsenal. And I think for the Arsenal supporters, I have a few questions. And the questions I'm going to ask, I don't know if these are legitimate questions. I don't know if they're illegitimate either. But I don't know if they're...
illegitimate,
yeah.
Okay.
But I wonder if these are legitimate questions. Because over the last weekend, Arsenal had a big match against Man United. And obviously we know all of Arsenal's problems at this point. Dropping points early, drawing against teams they probably should have beaten, like Everton. Jonas was in there, got rid of Jonas, knowing that it's still going to be a building process. But you always want to be optimistic. And going into the match against Man United is a tough team. That's not a game you go in thinking we're definitely going to win. Yes, you're going to think you're going to win all the games, but that's not like a gimme game. That's not a game that you should win. It's going to be a tough game. And going to that game, we're not really going to talk about the game. This isn't really about the game, but the game ended 1-1. It was a draw. What was frustrating about this game for I think many people is they actually played pretty well. Alessia Russo scored in the 63rd minute, beautiful goal. And then Man United scored in the 82nd minute. And Arsenal played really well the second half. We're gonna read some comments, but some people are saying the best that they've looked in a while. Some people are having some criticisms with Renee Slegers saying Jonas 2.0 basically.
Oh dear.
And then actually at the very end, Leah Williamson almost scored it, like literally right at the last whistle. And a lot of people are saying, although they didn't win, they didn't look bad. But it was kind of a crushing non-win because they probably could have won that.
So someone says, this is just way too painful to watch, especially because we were dominating the game mostly the second half. Kyra and Rose aren't the players we should be bringing on in the 87th minute. Absolutely another heartbreaking game. And someone also says, is Renee allergic to making subs? Why are we waiting till there's 5 minutes left in the game? Another valid point.
Yeah, and I don't see the comment here, but someone said Renee is like Jonas 2.0 kind of thing. So I saw some criticism, but then I also saw people were positive as well. I'll read this.
On a positive note, which apparently people don't like to be, very much improved from the last few games against a team who haven't lost. Grace Clinton was kept quiet for most of the game, which meant their main playmaker was out of the game, just struggled to finish.
I would probably say I saw most people being kind of heartbroken over this game because they played so well in the second half. But then I saw comments like this that said, hey, they played pretty well. They just couldn't get the win. And obviously they're going through a coaching transition. You can't this is part of my question I want to ask the Arsenal fans. Because they got rid of Jonas, can you expect Renee and the team to kind of say, hey, put the past in the past, let's win every game? Because that's pretty much what they're going to have to do if they're going to have any chance at league, which I don't think they're going to have a chance at this point. It could go differently. But can Arsenal fans go out there and say, hey, we still have to win every game, let's have that mindset? I'm going to read one more comment.
These comments are not it, you guys. Think that coaching is easy. No, it's not. bloody not 3 games under a new manager. Not everything is going to change within a few games. Look at the men's team, for example. What happened to them? And now look at them, title contenders for 2 seasons running. Give it time. This season may not be the best.
And I'm actually glad you read that comment, because that's kind of my question. My question is, at this point in the season, they are 5th in the standings. They are 7 points back. They play on Friday and they play Brighton, which Brighton's in the third spot right now. So they're going to have a tough match Friday. My question is, they're already so many points back. Should they just look at this as like another rebuilding season once Jonas is gone? Or the other thought I was thinking, should they put all their focus into Champions League? Like, should they kind of take the regular WSL season
as practice?
Kind of like those games not have the priority as the Champions League? Because at this point, I don't see them beating Arsenal. I don't see them beating Chelsea. I don't really see them beating Man City based on the points right now. We know Renee Slegers is going to be the coach. I think I saw the statement they made. She's going to be the coach for at least the next 4 or 5 games. Should they just focus on Champions League and the cup titles?
Well, shouldn't you play all your games like you're going to win?
Yeah.
I mean, even if it's in practice, like, shouldn't that be the mindset?
Yes. However, as we see with different cups throughout the season, you play certain players depending on what's next in a way too. Although you want to win everything, should they just focus? Because they could still do really well in Champions League, because they have a Champions League game next Tuesday, I think, or Wednesday. Should they rest the players because they don't think they're going to be in the title? Then again, if they don't finish top 3, then they're not going to Champions League next year. So maybe I'm talking myself out of that point.
Yeah, I'm not sure many people are going to agree with focusing on one thing. Yeah. We can juggle and multitask, right?
Yeah. Now that I'm thinking about that, considering they have to be top 3 to actually get in Champions League next year, I don't think they're going to do anything to jeopardize that, now that I'm thinking. But maybe they're going to concentrate on maybe whatever, the Conti Cup this year or the FA Cup or another, maybe they're going to focus on those too. But as an Arsenal fan, where is your head going? But I did see a lot of people saying they love Kim Little. Kim Little is an absolute legend. They love her so much. But some people are saying maybe it's time for Kyra Cooney-Cross to be starting over Kim Little. That's another question I have for you guys. I see this comment right here. KCC, Kyra Cooney-Cross should be starting over Little from now on. And someone says Kim is out of her depth. She should be coming on as a sub for Kyra Cooney-Cross. And I saw that a lot, and it makes a lot of sense to me for a young player, very talented player. Actually, Kyra just scored her first international goal with Australia during the international break. So, I mean, that's another thing that Renee has to think of, or the next coach.
Try it out. I mean, why not? What do you have to lose, right?
Because if you remember last season, they were kicked out of Champions League I don't know what they're called, the qualifications. So it's just, and then you keep thinking, it's Arsenal. How many rebuilding seasons can Arsenal have? Because Chelsea's not rebuilding. Emma Hayes isn't there. They haven't lost a game. It's just a hard time to be an Arsenal fan, and hard decision. So what does everyone think? One interesting thing that happened at this game, there was a commentator, and we've talked about the commentators before. Some of the commentators, when the WSL players came to the United States, and the United States commentators were commentating for the English players, some people said, I don't like that guy, he's weird or whatever, I don't know. But there was a commentator during the Man United Arsenal game. And even before the story came out, even before he said what he said, he was saying really kind of like very bantery things, very like, I don't want to call it inappropriate. Like there was this point where Rachel Williams, I believe, came in and she kind of was bullying the players, he said. And he goes, here comes Rachel Williams. That's what she does. She comes and bullies people. But the way he said it was commentary-esque. But it was just a very casual way, like almost like he was talking to his friends rather than commentating. So he had a very unorthodox style, but he was saying some kind of weird things. And I thought maybe it's just English banter. Maybe I thought it was just the English way of commentating. Go ahead.
Like it's a style.
Yeah, but he said something that was actually borderline inappropriate, and I'm going to read it.
So I'm going to read from this article. Bosses at the Women's Professional Leagues Limited are looking into a commentary clip involving Ella Toone, with the league's top brass taking a dim view of what was said about the Lionesses star. The Manchester United forward was taken off in the 61st minute against Arsenal and replaced by Melvine Mallard, with United losing 1-0. Toone cut a frustrated figure on the bench with the way the match was panning out, and as Mallard came on, the commentator said that Toone had a face like a smacked bum. What the... What? Anyway, the commentary, made on an alternative feed to the BBC's own dedicated live coverage, quickly got picked up on social media and is now being investigated further by the WSL Chiefs. It has now been a particularly difficult few weeks for Toone following the loss of her father, Nick, in late September.
So that comment, it was a very...
like a nonchalant-ish comment.
Yeah, it was very observational, but I don't think it was appropriate for the commentator to be saying that. Now, is that more like an English banter thing? It might be, but there's a place and time for that, and I don't think that time. Ella has been dealing with a lot over the last couple months, and especially, her dad passed away and been dealing with a lot of things. Even take that aside, I don't think you should say that even if someone's not going through a good time, which Ella hasn't, but I just don't think it's appropriate. And I don't think it's appropriate for a man or a woman. I don't think it's appropriate for him to say that about a male or a female. Yeah. But I hate to say it's more inappropriate when it's a female, but it's a little more inappropriate.
Yeah, I thought that too. No one should be saying this, especially on like a commentator, a professional. I'm putting quotes around that. Professional commentator.
Was she supposed to be smiling on the bench? I'm not trying to figure that one out too. But I will say, if he gets talked to and said, hey, that's inappropriate, I don't think he should lose his job. I don't think he should be taken off food. You talk to him, you say, hey, let's be a little more professional. I think that could suffice, to say, hey, I didn't mean anything. And I actually think that would be acceptable. Hey, it's Sara. I'm just editing, but also I wanted to add he needs to apologize to Ella Toone. And yeah, I still don't think he should be fired, but it was really gross. The story has actually been picking up more and more because I just am editing the video today, and 4 hours, a couple more news articles were posted about it, that how gross it was. And like I said, I still don't think he should lose his job, but definitely apologize to Ella and never let it happen again, because that was really, it was gross, upsetting. So definitely, yeah.
Oh, I'm looking at prison time here. I'm just kidding. Don't do that again, person who said it. Thank you.
And then that goes back to the way the commentators talk about certain players. I've seen this kind of discourse where certain players, oh, it's just Katie being Katie, or, oh, this person's always bullying this person. It seems like depending on the player, some things are let go a little more easy. Some things are let go easier than other players. And also the idea of if a commentator says something, if a commentator says something, that impacts the viewer's perception of what's going on, how they say it.
That's true. That's a good point.
Yeah. So what did everyone think about that? Did and Ella especially, going back to her having such a hard time, losing a parent's one of the hardest things for a young person that can happen. And really. Yeah, but I don't get how she was supposed to be, looking. She's out there to win, and it was just kind of weird. But the commentator was kind of saying some crazy things, but I don't think he should be fired or anything. And, we're going to talk about something else, kind of controversial thing that happened over the weekend. But there was a controversial goal celebration at the Chelsea game.
No, I can't take any more controversial things right now.
Sarah's going to read from the story, and then we're going to talk about this for just a second.
Controversial celebration that has everyone in women's football talking. A controversial celebration has set women's football ablaze in discussion after Erin Cuthbert scored for Chelsea in their 5-0 win over Everton on Sunday. After Scotland international Cuthbert hit the back of the net, she and teammate Johanna lifted their hands in celebration. Fans immediately jumped to the conclusion that they were poking fun at Arsenal defender Leah Williamson, as she is known to raise her hand multiple times during a game to claim an offside call. However, post-match, Chelsea forward Aggie Beaver-Jones gave a different explanation for the celebration. She told Sky Sports, "In training yesterday, we were doing some finishing practices, and we had one of the academy keepers train up, and she did a save. I'm not going to reenact it, but she did a save by just sticking her hand up. Erin found it extremely funny, and I think she had a bet on doing it today. That was the reasoning behind it." Cuthbert also took to Instagram to clarify the same reasoning after the discussions around Williamson continued. She shared a photo from training with a player with their hand in the air. Despite the clarifications from the Chelsea camp, supporters have continued to speculate on social media.
Okay, so I'm sure most people saw this by now. It's kind of everywhere. That after Erin Cuthbert in particular did the celebration, some people on social media automatically picked up, hey, that looked a lot like Leah Williams. It looked like a lot like Leah Williamson raising her hand, which to me is so funny because I feel like every single time someone's offsides, every player is always raising their hand.
Yeah, it's like an automatic thing in soccer where, oh, you think they're offsides? Oh, raise your hand and look at the ref.
Or handball.
Yeah, same.
But I guess Leah's more well-known for doing this, I guess. And then also, we know that there's, Aggie Beaver-Jones, Millie Bright, Lauren James, they're all Lionesses. So, the idea I think people were having that Chelsea's biggest rival in the WSL is obviously Arsenal. They're mocking Leah, maybe because Arsenal's not doing very well. And then some people said, oh, for a team like Chelsea who has a lot of Lionesses, are they mocking a team? Are they mocking Leah Williamson, who is the captain of Lionesses? Is that in bad form? What does everyone think? And then Aggie Beaver-Jones came out and said, hey, it was this goalie, the academy goalie, that did that funny thing. And actually, I'll play the video, but there's receipts. They showed the video of the academy goalie saving the ball. Not that this is important. Some people don't believe Aggie Beaver-Jones's explanation. They're like, oh, that's what somebody would say, even if there is receipts. And then someone goes, their celebrations are always cheeky. Love them. And then someone
else says, I'm an Arsenal fan, and I think players can celebrate how they want. If they're taking the mick of us while they do it, then we should have played better.
And that's an interesting point. Some people don't believe Aggie Beaver-Jones. I do. I don't think I don't know. I believe her, especially after the receipts. But my question is, even if it was about Leah Williamson, is that inappropriate? Because you're rubbing into someone's face, you're making fun of them not doing well. Would that be inappropriate? That's kind of one of my questions. I'm torn about that.
But does that go along with like the trash talk, sort of like the trash talking type of thing, like, oh, in your face? But is that too much? Has it gone too far?
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's the question.
Has it gone too far?
Right. And I think a lot of people are saying, if it were about Leah, because there is Lionesses on Chelsea, it would be going too far. Also, I was going to mention this when we talked about it a second ago. The Chelsea players are known to imitate Arsenal players slash coaches. Remember, we did the video about them mocking the Jonas celebration when Jonas and Arsenal beat Chelsea. And I think it was Erin Cuthbert and I think it was Millie Bright who did the move on the field. So they're kind of known for imitating the Arsenal team.
And just so you know, Sara physically just did it now. That was the dramatic pause.
Yeah, so they've been known to do it. And that's the question to me. If it was about Leo, is that inappropriate? I don't know. I'm on the fence. I think it would be in good fun, but I think that would just make the Arsenal players say, oh, heck no, it would just fire them up more,
Oh, heck no. They're always saying that. I don't know. It's kind of wild.
Yeah. So what did everyone think about that? Because I know that was a big story over the weekend. But where does this leave Arsenal? Kind of going back to Arsenal. They have a big game on Friday. They play Brighton, and Brighton's doing amazing this year so far. I see a comment right here, though. It says, at this point, Arsenal should just focus on next season. It's over for them.
Don't give up, though. Never give up.
Yeah, but thinking about it now, they have to be top 3 to get in Champions League, I believe. I don't know, maybe if it was about Leah Williamson, that could have motivated them to be really pissed off, to be like, oh, heck no, I could see that too. What does everyone think? And then I see this comment. They hate us because they ain't us. Arsenal fans think everything is always about them, which I think is funny because that's just sports. You know, when it's your team, you're like, yeah, everything is about us. I see a comment here says, and people think Aggie was lying. What does everyone think? 3 crazy stories. Where does this leave Arsenal in their season? Are they going to focus on Champions League? Probably not. That doesn't make much sense at this point. But who knows? It's, you know, another rebuilding year. Also, was that comment that the commentator made about Ella Toone too much?
Yes, indeed it was too much.
It was a little inappropriate. But
I think we can all agree on that one, right?
And then also was the celebration. I believe Aggie Beaver-Jones. I don't think she was lying. And the receipts, they had the receipts. But if that were if they were mocking Leah, would that be out of line? Now, see, I don't think necessarily that would be. I think that would be them just being feisty, and I really don't think that would be out of line. But it doesn't appear that it was about Leah.
I don't know. Playing with fire on that one.
Yeah, some people don't believe it, which, hey, it's all in good fun. Questions, comments down below. We'll talk to everyone later. Have a great night. Bye.
Bye.